Welcome to the Higher Ed Demand Gen podcast, helping higher education marketing leaders share knowledge about learning, strategies, and tactics that are relevant today. See what you can learn today by listening to one of our episodes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Higher Ed Demand Gen podcast, hosted by Concept 3D. If you like our content, please follow and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, and Google. My name is Shiro Hattori, and I will be your host today. And I'm very excited for the guest that's joining us today to talk about how to increase gender parity and why even engineering schools need marketing. For the topic, I have none other than Caroline Harrah joining us today. She's the Associate Director of Marketing and External Communications with CU Boulder's College of Engineering and Applied Science. And fun fact, I was actually trying to get into this school back in my undergrad days 14 years ago. So this is a very topic very close to my heart. So Caroline, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I do ask all my guests this, please tell me what you love about higher ed.
Yeah, I purposely sought higher ed because the learning never ends. You meet the most fascinating people, and you just learn every day. Is you just learn so much. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and I can only imagine with like all the goals that the engineering school set in the next 5-10 years, like there's constant learning, right? So I couldn't agree anymore. Can you just start us off by telling us a quick summary of your background and your current role?
Yeah, so I am a little bit unusual in that my career has really spanned corporate, nonprofit, as well as higher ed. And throughout my career, I've been dedicated to helping technology and innovation driven organizations really break through the noise, sustain advantage in new competitive and crowded industries. So that's kind of my area of expertise. As the Associate Director of Marketing for the CU Engineering, I really bring a strategic integrated lens across owned, earned, and paid media that seeks to address some of the greatest challenges and, frankly, opportunities facing CU Engineering and many institutions today. Areas such as undergraduate and graduate enrollment, digital education, research reputation, alumni engagement, student retention, and diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Wow, that's amazing. And I know that you're one of the first hires in this role, right? You are the first hire of this role.
Yeah.
Why is CU Engineering investing in marketing and in this position at the moment?
Yes, I am the first, and which can have its challenges, but it's very exciting. Why they made this investment is, higher ed in general is facing increased public scrutiny, as you know, about its value, giving rising costs, student debt, the proliferation of skill-based options. There's also a looming enrollment cliff, which means that there's a significant projected decline in the number of high school graduates beginning around 2025 that will lead to fewer students entering college. So integrated strategic marketing has become increasingly important to higher ed to more effectively communicate its value proposition, attract new and diverse student populations, and really remain competitive in an evolving educational landscape.
Got it. Thank you. And so here's an assumption I have, right? This is coming with no data, no research, but in my opinion, like I hear that engineering schools always are doing well, right? There's no issues with enrollment. It's a industry that continues to seem like they have a lot of open job positions and also high salaries. And so like specific to engineering, like are there forecasts in enrollment that engineering schools are expecting as well? And maybe there's a difference between undergrad and graduate too there.
So the college here in the College of Engineering at CU Boulder, we're not currently seeing undergraduate enrollment declines. The opposite, particularly given the current demand for engineering degrees, and of course the halo effect of Coach Prime. Okay, we have benefited from that. Even our graduate programs. However, we are preparing for a potential decline in undergraduate enrollment and looking at new ways to reach students who might not have considered CU or need a different pathway to achieve a 4-year degree. This year, we expanded our Colorado Community College engineering pathways from 2 to 6. That makes an engineering education more accessible to a diverse range of students, including those who might not have considered a four-year university due to financial or personal reasons. We offer a variety of K-12 outreach programs and high school research opportunities that also help to introduce students to STEM fields and the power of a college degree on their lives in the world. So right now, we aren't feeling the effect of the enrollment decline in our undergraduate college. We are expecting to be impacted, and I think everyone is. Colorado is a pretty small state by population, and we do rely upon some percentage of out of state and international students.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm an out of state student that went to CU, so I understand there's a pretty big out of state student population there. That makes a lot of sense. Could you talk a little bit about the graduate programs as well? Is that like, so I've talked to a couple business school marketing directors, so similar to your position, but just in the business school. And this is across a few other states, not in Colorado, but they mentioned that graduate enrollment was down slightly, or they're expecting that. And so I'm wondering, again, in the field of engineering, which I assume has more demand, are there other like forecasts or expectations for like similar to maybe what a lot of the MBA programs across the country are feeling right now?
Yeah, so I would just say that overall, I think everyone has been impacted by graduate enrollment, and there's a variety of factors influencing that. Obviously, international students have been a large base of our graduate programs. Um, I can't speak to other schools, but I hear that everyone is impacted by that. Of course, that's influenced by the ease by which you can get your student visa. It's also impacted by global economic
Hmm.
conditions as well. So we have a large population from Asia, for example, and that has been a little bit softer. We need to diversify that a little bit. But overall, we think graduate education is really not even we're not even scratching the surface on the opportunity. And for a lot of schools, they see the same thing. So it's going to be competitive. It's really an opportunity to diversify and enhance revenue streams. It can help offset undergraduate education. We can reach a broader audience, including working professionals and more international students, particularly with the online options. It's a vital element of workforce development, particularly here in Colorado, in semiconductors, quantum, climate, health, and space. And there's also an opportunity for corporate partners there. I think the thing is that we have to be really agile in our approach. We have to really consider, okay, the corporate student is probably going to need more flexible offerings.
Hmm.
You know, we need to think about offering more economical opportunities. But ultimately, the potential for graduate programs is large and the payoff is considerable. So if I look at, here, let me give you some data. But
Absolutely.
we know that, for example, I was going to say, you know, undergraduate degrees versus not getting an undergraduate degree, for example, is considerably better. So for an undergraduate who chooses not to go and get a degree, will earn roughly half of what our undergraduates in engineering will earn.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's after a few years out in the workforce. So undergraduates can get anywhere between 80 to over 100 plus
Right
thousand.
out of college.
But
Yeah.
for engineering graduates, it's also considerable. So you can expect to probably see roughly between 15 and 30% salary increase by
Hmm.
getting a graduate degree in engineering, which is considerable when you consider your base is so high. But there's other
Yeah.
benefits as well, right? Because
Uh-huh.
you also get access to research and faculty. You also get access to state of the art laboratories. You can specialize in your field. I mean, graduate degree pays off within typically 12 to 18 months of getting your degree.
Gotcha. Do you think, I know you mentioned international student decline was obviously something we saw during the pandemic and still is, is
Yeah.
trying to get back to pre-pandemic levels. But are
Mhm.
there other like factors? Maybe it's media, maybe it's distrust, maybe it's financials that are affecting like graduate enrollments or the questioning of graduate programs in the industry?
Well, as you know, like Google, like you wouldn't think Google would be laying off. There's a considerable shift happening right now in the tech sector where engineers are losing their jobs. Even
Mm,
CS majors coming right out of school are having difficulty finding jobs. And I think that is in large part to a reinvestment of resources in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is still in its nascency, really, even though it's was invented decades ago, but in its current incarnation, it's in its nascency, and everyone's looking to grab a slice of the pie. So certainly, global economic factors are impacting that. The college debt, people don't want to take on more debt if they can't get a job. The flip side of that is typically in recessions or typically when you see layoffs in a sector, you do see people going back to school. They're looking to retool or they're looking maybe to go
yep.
into management and get jobs that they wouldn't typically be able to acquire. So that's kind of where we are now. And I kind of think like it really is a good time to go to graduate school if you're in that situation because the payoff is real and it's fast.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know the payout, like the increases in average salary were that much higher on already such a high base just out of college. So yeah, that's incredible. It kind of reminds me of like anyone chasing like the medical field, right, to become a doctor. Like very, very probably more expensive initial upfront cost to go to medical school, but obviously the payoff is really good, and your help to society is also undeniably questionable. So, um, gotcha. Well, I didn't know a lot of these things, so thank you so much for explaining them. I've only gotten the opportunity to talk to a few graduate school program marketing folks, and so this is very insightful. I did talk to someone over from Notre Dame, and he said something similar in that right after COVID, there was an uptick in graduate enrollment because all these people were trying to figure out what to do with their time. Maybe they saw some layoffs and they're trying to reinvest in their future. So, a lot of similarities there.
I'm glad you brought that up because one thing I did want to mention is one effect of COVID is that now students are expecting online programs. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone made that quick shift to online, and now you can't avoid it. You have to have online aspects. And this is true for undergrad too. I don't know if you know that. Students in undergrad are now expecting some online component of their classes. So it's fascinating. But the most important thing vis-a-vis graduate education is that you really have to offer options, right? You have to have online, fully online, hybrid, in person for people who want that. We offer all of
Mm-hmm.
that plus Coursera. So I think we're well positioned, but it's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be increasingly competitive out there for sure.
Got it. Okay. This is a little off script right now, but I'm just curious. So I'm going to ask. You mentioned CS, computer science programs earlier. That's typically where a lot of my friends who work in tech went
Mhm.
in school or currently working in. But what are like other programs or uh, tracks that are growing right now in the engineering field? And it could just be CU Boulder if those are the only examples you have. But I'm just curious because
Mhm.
CS is really the only one that I thought and knew of. I'm assuming maybe quantum and space, but I'd
Mm.
love to learn more about that.
So computer science is one of our top programs in terms of popularity. Obviously, aerospace is always oversubscribed, many times over. But you have, I mean, I think all of our departments are popular. You are seeing some strong interest, particularly from female applicants in the biosciences, bioengineering,
Mm,
biomedical engineering, chemical engineering. they always perform well. An interesting degree that people don't always think of is electrical engineering, and that's probably one of the best degrees to get. It is difficult, but especially right now. So I'm not sure if you know anything about the CHIPS Act, but it's a reinvestment in the semiconductor and quantum sectors throughout the United States to make the United States more competitive. Colorado has just been named a quantum information technology hub, and we just won a large phase 2 grant from the federal government, which is also supported by state funds. So one area that's going to be booming in Colorado will be semiconductor research, science, and quantum engineering. And so for someone who has a background in electrical engineering and computer science, really any of the engineering fields, there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Civil engineering is also a great area. Colorado is one of the best locations to get a job in civil engineering. I don't know if people know that. It's one of kind of more the old school engineering degrees. But I would say, all of our degrees are very strong and are growing. And the beauty of it is here in Colorado is, the engineering fields are thriving because Colorado is thriving, and you can study here and you can stay here. For graduate students, this is really important because you're going to spend up to 5 to 7 years for your PhD, for example, typically 5. You want to love where you live and you want to find gainful employment. So that's a big facet of where you go to study graduate school. So here you can study here, live here, love where you live, and you can get a job after, not just in higher ed, but one of the many research institutes like NIST or NOAA, and or in corporate. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I probably went too far, but
No,
yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
Civil engineering, electrical engineering. I did not know Colorado got a grant for that. I talked to Purdue recently about the same topic, and I think
Yeah.
their school also is investing in semiconductor and electrical engineering as well. So
That's
I've heard about
correct.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very, very fascinating. Yeah, this is great. Well, along the lines with what you're talking about, a lot more women enrolling in biochem.
Mhm.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk
Yeah.
about the engineering student demographic. So I know one of the
Mhm.
things you believe in and that you're passionate about is trying to increase the student demographic that better reflects our current actual U.S. population.
Mhm.
And so, can you tell us a little bit more about that, what that is, and maybe what gender parity is to start as well?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, let me look at my notes here. So the issue of gender parity has been a strategic priority for CU engineering for decades. And so, what is gender parity? It literally means that the number of women is equal to the number of men who are currently and actively enrolled in College of Engineering. We focus
Mm-hmm.
primarily on our female on our first year undergraduates because those are the ones who are applying initially. So the number that we have for gender parity is focused on first year undergraduates. The blended rate over time dilutes a little bit because we bring in transfer students, and so that tends to be more heavily male. But basically, gender parity is a real pride point for us and something that we've worked hard to achieve. And the reason is because you may not know this, but the percentage of women professionals in architecture and engineering is only 16.7%. That's according to the Society of Women Engineers, SWE. And so, even though it's up significantly from the 1990s, it's still an issue. So, if we want to tackle global challenges in engineering like sustainable development, healthcare, AI, quantum computing, you have to have diverse perspectives. It can't just be all white male, it needs to be diverse. We need to have people from around the world of various origins, and we need to have women too. So, a diverse engineering sort of population helps us to design infrastructure and technologies that meets the needs of the whole population. not just a small population. So we've been recognized as a top 5 public university for women in our first year class. Right now, this year's class was 41% female students. That's up 27 percentage points from 2 decades ago. So it's pretty significant when you consider many engineering schools have less than half that. So it's a big deal.
That's amazing. Yeah, and myself sitting in an engineering class, a first year engineering class, my freshman year at CU, I can say firsthand that there were not 41% of women in my
Mm-hmm.
classroom. So that's really impressive that in a little over a decade that you've gotten so far. What are some of the strategies and tactics that were implemented or that CU was going after in order to get more first year women into the engineering programs?
Yeah, so at the very base level, we invest a lot in recruiting female students. So
Mm-hmm.
when we reach out to high school students, we make a purposeful effort to reach out to female students. But I think probably the highest impact effort uh, is really our K to 12 outreach and the associations it has there. So if you think about, I have a daughter who's in school studying engineering. And growing up, she loved to go to Lego camp, for example. She was
Mm.
always the only girl in Lego camp, okay? So when girls, first of all, don't see other girls in engineering, it says to them, oh, one, maybe I don't belong, or two, maybe this isn't as fun as I thought. I never get a word in edgewise. It's just a very different communication style. What CU Boulder and CU Engineering has actively done is we work with partners and nonprofit organizations in K 12 so that girls and all students really can believe that they can be an engineer. You know, young people tend to associate their career with what they know. If they see their parent is a doctor, or if they see if their parent owns a restaurant or whatever, they're more inclined to think, oh, well, that's where I should go. That's what I should be. That's what I want to do. I want to be just like my mom or my dad. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But if there isn't a role model to say, one, this might be something you could do and be interested in, and you can thrive and succeed, well, then they're less likely to pursue it. So our K to 12 outreach programs and our high school research programs are vital for this because students can see, oh, this is what engineering means. This is what civil engineering means. Mechanical engineering. One of our projects for K to 12 is students learning how to build prosthetics using just materials lying around the house like a cardboard box. What is their approach to solving the problem, right? How do they go
Mm-hmm.
about it? Does it work? And they actually walk around with their prosthetic leg, to see if it actually even works. It's a fun exercise. It allows them to really think critically and solve a problem, and makes them feel good at the end of the day that they can make an impact in the world.
That's amazing. And I know you talked about a lot of working with partners, targeting that K to 12 audience.
Yeah.
In terms of, I know you own a lot of paid and earned media as well
Mhm.
with the CU Engineering School. And so, are there other like marketing tactics as well in terms of like highlighting more female stories from the school or uh, setting up ad campaigns differently, right? So not just trying to target like the whole broad audience of K through 12, like creating separate campaigns to segment different audiences. Is that something you're doing right now as well?
Yeah, so I didn't mention earlier our Bold program, and
Okay.
which is super popular and is really a hub to support students of all backgrounds. Provides mentoring, scholarship, community, and clubs. But the reason why I mention that is it's something that we've become known for, and we have a reputation for. On the analytics side, it's one of our most popular pages to visit. But what we really do is we leverage some of our best in class programs, both on the engineering side as well as our outreach programs, to really tell a story that you belong here, You will thrive here. You are welcome here. And we have resources to support you along the way. So that is represented through our marketing collateral, through our website, through outreach, through our partners, through earned media. We recently got a lot of press for our gender parity efforts, but we receive a lot of earned media in general. Of course, we endeavor to update our website so it's SEO and keyword optimized so people can find us through Google. And then we use paid media to supplement the organic to be able to capture those who can't find us through search or through our other affiliations. Of course, all of the organizations our faculty are involved in is one of the most important areas for any institution of higher ed to be involved in. It's basically the equivalent of our influencer campaign. There are influencers. When faculty are involved in nonprofit organizations that serve diverse populations, we are a thought leader in that area. And when they are involved with their the civil engineering organizations or IEEE, that speaks well for us, or they serve on boards. So that can influence us greatly vis-a-vis rankings, reputation, and to help us spread the word about all of these amazing programs that we have. Of course, we're also a partner with ASCE, which is the American Society of Engineering Education. We do advertise through there, and they provide a lot of intel to help inform a lot of our strategies as well.
That's amazing, and I'm really happy you mentioned faculty, and I keep bringing up this podcast episode I had with Purdue's podcast host, but they have a channel they've created where they do interview students, graduates, alums, but they also interview a lot of faculty who are often professors leading a certain topic in their field. One was around semiconductors, and I listened to this podcast episode of this professor who teaches electrical engineering, and it was really, really fascinating. And surprisingly, from the analytical perspective, that episode and that content from that professor did really, really well. And I think it actually drove a lot of interest for prospective students. So it was one of the best performing episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And my assumption would have been that usually when you cover faculty, it doesn't garner as much interest or gain as much interest, but that proved me wrong, and so I think there is a lot of opportunity especially in science and tech, to highlight the professors and the faculty a lot, because I think there's a lot of stories there and students want to be tied to those stories too. So that's
Oh yeah,
fascinating.
100%. You have to remember, like, engineering is an applied science. So it has direct impact to our everyday lives. So
Mm-hmm.
it's relatable, tangible. Now, the deeper you get into it, you realize, oh my gosh, this is way over my head. But it's fascinating because you can see how it could impact you every single day of your life. But yeah, I think faculty is a big opportunity. Podcasting, we're looking at that. We're just now in our strategic planning phase. I've only been here a year. I came from UC Santa Barbara before this. We're also working in the College of Engineering. So there's a lot to do, and it's super exciting. And yeah.
That's amazing. Well, can you tell us a little bit about what you want to accomplish maybe in the next couple of years? I know you just joined the team, but what's your vision for the 2, 3, 4, 5 year plan right now?
Yeah, so as I said, I'm really focused on laying the foundation right now for the College of Engineering because we've never done marketing. So I think it's really important for us to be very clear about what our value proposition is to our students, to our faculty, to all of our stakeholders, and do an assessment of if we're fulfilling that brand promise. Tighten up our messaging, and of course leverage all the channels, earned, owned, and paid, to amplify that messaging. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for an influencer campaign, as I mentioned before in the podcast, maybe a Reddit takeover too. Ask me anything. There's a lot to do, but what we want to do is position ourselves and our faculty and our research as authorities in our field, talk about the innovation in education and the way that we conduct instruction, and demonstrate how our work leads to demonstrable impact in the world. And so leveraging all of the things I already discussed. So right now we're in the foundation stages, looking at the next year. We want to diversify our undergraduate enrollment. As I mentioned, achieve gender parity within the next few years. We want to grow our graduate programs, and we want to build new graduate programs. We have a program that was just announced with Siemens, which is a certificate program in sustainability coming out of our engineering management program. We want to see more of those programs rolled out. That's an area that falls within my area of expertise. But ultimately, keep doing what we're doing, do it better, be of greater service both to our students, our faculty, our community, and our world, create impact, and remain relevant, really. And I think that we will.
That's amazing. And, I'm going to be following along very closely because I'm very tight with CU Boulder. So I love everything that the school is doing. Coach Prime was just another addition to that. But
I know.
I just walked through campus the other day to go to a concert, and it's just so beautiful. And it brought me back. And this conversation's bringing me back to it as well. So I appreciate everything you shared with me today. It's got me really excited about the future. So thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you so much. Thanks for having me.
I'm wondering where our followers and listeners can reach out to you to understand a little bit more about what Caroline's doing.
Oh, yes. So you can go to our website at colorado.edu/engineering. And you can visit us on social at CU Engineering on Instagram, LinkedIn, X. We are on Threads as well, and Facebook, which is primarily our venue for parents and alumni. But we're everywhere on social.
I know that's how I know you're a marketer. When you said Facebook, you had to say like the audience right after, right? So that's like that's
Yeah, I mean, the
ingrained
thing
marketing in you.
yeah. Well, the thing is that Facebook is still relevant, and it is
Yes.
one of the leading channels for advertising for grad programs, which might surprise you. For our
Mm-hmm.
engineering, grad prospects, we prefer a different channel. I'm not going to share because I don't want everyone to go there, but it is for other graduate programs a primary advertising channel for graduate programs.
That's amazing. Well, I know Noel said the same thing about your channel as in terms of Facebook, right? Who the audience is. So um, everyone at the CU team seems to have it dialed in marketing. So that's great. And we will have another CU Boulder guest from the central marketing team, a director of social media, joining us on an episode in a few weeks here. So make sure to tune in for that. And you can also follow Caroline. Just search Caroline Harrah. And she will come up as CU Boulder College of Engineering as her first below the name. So just search for her on LinkedIn. You'll find her, and you can
Oh,
follow
yeah,
her there as
definitely
well.
link in with me. I always want to link in with people. I'm happy to connect. So
Great.
thank you.
Well, thank you. This has been great.